Hello darlings, welcome back to my channel. My name is Coralie and today we're doing a review video on the Bella Beauté Bar Secret Garden eyeshadow palette. Let's talk about bias before we get into this palette. This palette was sent to me by Bella Beauté Bar, so this was sent to me in PR, which means it was gifted to me. I did not pay any money to get this palette. You know, there's an inherent bias. Of course, I'm always going to come to you guys with these reviews with as much objectiveness as possible, but there is bias because I was given this for free. Right. Also, one of the other things I like to mention when I get stuff sent to me in PR is that I'm not going to be able to tell you guys if this palette is worth the price, because I didn't spend that money, which means that my assessment of whether or not it's worth it is kind of irrelevant. I hope it's clear enough, but if you didn't buy something, how are you to say that it was worth your money? Since you didn't purchase it, you didn't buy it. So that's kind of how I feel about this. So let's get into this video. This palette retails for $75. Let me open it up for you. That's US, by the way. So this is what the palette looks like. Look how beautiful this is. So this is a mainly green and pink like eyeshadow palette. You know, you get a row of neutrals in there. It's a 25 shade palette with 10 shimmers and 15 mattes. The 10 shimmers have different finishes that we'll get into more when we do the individual shimmer swatches, so don't worry about that. I will obviously be, you know, very comprehensive about that as well. In this palette, we have duochromes, multi-chromes, we have holochromes, as well as holographic eyeshadow. So that's kind of like the different finishes, plus we have the mattes as well. Okay, let's talk about color story for a hot sec. This is such a beautiful color story. I really enjoyed that there's only one row of neutrals. I understand that for versatility, a lot of people like to base their looks on neutral and use colorful shades as like pops of colors. So I understand the need for neutrals, and I'm not anti neutrals, by the way. It's just that my preference lies with color, and so I do love that it's 1/5 neutral and like 4/5 colorful, and I love that. It's so beautiful. I love that this neutral shade actually has holographic glitter in it. It just makes it that much more fun. You can have a nice, quick, easy neutral look and still have a little bit of that je ne sais quoi, you know, that little bit of extra. By the way, I didn't say this, but I've been wearing this makeup since 7:10 a.m. this morning, and it is 5:43 p.m. So if you see me looking a little bit oily, not looking great, that's what's going on. I reapplied my lipstick, but that was it. This palette is also magnetic. So for a bunch of my like build your own palettes, girlies, you can literally just put your finger in there and you can remove shades. And what I love about this is that it has the name of the shade. So this shade is Daydream, you know, on the palette, and there's Daydream written on the back so that you know it's Daydream by Bella Beauté Bar. So even if you switch it up, move around some shadows, you'll know that all these shadows are identified, and so you can very easily put them back in their palette. I don't need a palette to be magnetic because I'm not a huge BYOP girly. I do love like a made color story, but I might become a BYOP girly, and so in that sense, it's practical to have something that gives you the option. Let's talk about formula. I wore this palette so far 3 times. I did one extra, like more weekend look, and I did 2 work looks with it, including the one that I'm wearing today. And actually, I'm glad we're here today because I'm able to show you this. And I talked about this on my Instagram, but 2-3 weeks back, I just was really struggling with dryness on my eyes because of my acne prescription, which my acne prescription is literally like, I need her. She's amazing. It's so great for like the rest of my skin, the rest of my face. And so that prescription does everything great for me, but it makes my eyes super dry. And because it makes my eyes super dry, I have to counterbalance that by like, you know, making them a little more hydrated, because I would literally be blending eyeshadow and you could see little like skin like peeling off, and it was painful every single time I removed my makeup. So I prioritized, you know, my eye hydration, I would say, which is something I didn't really struggle with before, but I have struggled a lot with now. And that makes it so that a lot of shadows that I used to use that didn't really crease start creasing. Now, I have some news for y'all, okay? Some of these shadows don't crease. Some of these shadows have a more emollient consistency, especially the shimmers, and some don't. So, to be very honest with y'all, the shades that crease the most are Sun Shower, Oasis, and Daydream for me. Those were the main culprits, I would say, like the more emollient shades. The creasing that they give is not so major that it would make me not wear it, because I don't know if you can see, but like when I just look up, which is, I don't usually do this when I'm like outside, out and about, but when I go like this, you can't really tell that it's creasing. So for me, it's not like a deal breaker, but as you can see, I kind of drag that pink all over here, and like, look, there's like almost this little empty bit of skin. So if you have super oily, super creasy lids, I don't know that this would be the formula for you, but the mattes in there don't crease. The other shimmers I didn't have issues with, like the smoother shimmers that are on the bottom and that hollow shade at the top didn't crease at all on me, so that was really fun. But yeah, those three shades that I named you, and I would guess maybe even Serenity might do that as well, might be a little bit more tricky to work with. I think one of the things you can do to avoid that is just use like an eye primer that is maybe of a little bit drier consistency. Anything that's a little bit drier might work better for those types of shades. But yeah, the mattes are super easy to blend. I love the blendability of Bella Beauté Bar mattes. This is not my first palette from them. I purchased 2 palettes from them before, which is the Best Mattes, which is an all matte rainbow palette that they did in collaboration with Brittany Huffman and Ellie Starr. And then I also purchased the Pastel Garden, which that's my baby. I'm pretty sure it finished in my top 5 palette ranking of last year. The formula is excellent. The color story is beautiful. The shimmers are insane. Honestly, Bella Beauté Bar does have a really impactful formula. So if you like extra makeup the same way that I do, you might really enjoy these products and these formulas. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the B-roll footage is that I adore the use of a matte pale bone shade. I use these types of shades all the time on my brow bone because I don't want like shades blending up, you know, to my brow, and I like having this little bit of cleanliness. It just lifts everything up and makes everything look really beautiful and blended and intentional, which is something that I love about my makeup style. And so having a shade like this in this palette is really fun for me. It's never a necessity, but I do think it's fun. The other thing is I wish this was deeper and maybe this was deeper, but other than that, I'm very satisfied with the varying depths that we have in this palette. It's just so beautiful. There's another look I'd like to do with this one, but I just wanted to kind of get this video up for you guys because the palette literally released yesterday, and I'm just, you know, I did get it a little bit late in the mail because, you know, Canada girly, but still. Next on the menu, I'm gonna show you guys the in-depth shimmer swatches with voiceover descriptions. We'll get into the 3 looks that I did using this palette, and I'll come back for the outro. Gazebo is a champagne shade with hollow particles. They're not really glitters, but almost like hollow sparkles. Next, we have Sun Showers, which is almost like a translucent base with pink to silver reflex. That's how I'm seeing it, at least. Then we have Serenity, which is like a translucent tannish base that goes from a rose gold to a gold orange to a nice lime green. Next, we have Flora. Flora is a magenta pink base with, you know, a main pink magenta shine to orange to a nice golden yellow. Butterfly is a yellow base with lime green / yellow to more green sparkles. A more green shift. It's very smooth and it's not very emollient. Daydream is kind of a baby pink with pink and blue indigo sparkles, so it doesn't necessarily have a shift, but it's very dimensional and it has a wet look on the eyes. Oasis is my favorite. It's like a light tan / yellowish base with a green to blue to indigo purple shift. This is stunning. It looked stunning in the pan and it looks stunning on the eyes. My hand is is just getting shinier and shinier by the second. Literally, this is the skin of a killer, Bella. Deserted is a dark gray base with a yellow to like a warm green to a cooler tone green multi-chrome. This is so smooth and beautiful. Then we have Secrecy, which is a holochrome. So it's mostly, I would say, tealish blue to purple, almost magenta, and it has hollow particles that just shift the rainbow in them. Lastly, we have Imagine, which is a dark gray base multi-chrome with a green to teal to blue shift. This is also very, very beautiful, very ocean-like. Welcome to my first tutorial using the Bella Beauté Bar Secret Garden. Let's get into it. So we're going to do this eye on this eye. The first shade we're going to grab is Lock and Key right here, which is the deepest like green shadow that we have. I'm going to grab that on a tiny brush and start packing it like right here. I'm going to slowly start blending that into my crease. Then I'm going to go in with Thistle right here. I don't know what Thistle means. I'll have to look it up, but yeah. And I'm going to take it on the very same brush and start buffing that above the first shade we put down. Before we go on to the like last matte color, we're going to take the shade Vintage, which is a pale matte creamy beige shade. I'm going to take that on a flat brush and just pack it right on my brow bone so that we don't get any excess shadow like underneath there. Then for the last matte shade, I'm going to take Water Lily. Can you see it? Yeah, Water Lily right here, which is a really pretty pastel, I would say warm green. It's like almost yellowish, but not truly. And with a fluffier brush, I'm going to put that all around the other matte shades that we used. So right here. I'm also going to take a little bit of Water Lily and just pack it on the lid. The reason why I'm doing that is to give more base to a shade we're going to use on top. Okay, what is wrong with this telephone? So now I'm going to re-intensify every matte shade we used, and I'll be right back for the shimmers. The blend is exactly what I want it to be. I'm going to take my Farinay Pixie Epoxy, which is a glitter glue, and I'm going to start patting that almost in a, not a half good crease formation, but the first half of the lid, right? So right up until the center. For the shimmers, I'm just going to take them out. We're going to use Oasis. Oh, wow. And with Oasis, I'm going to pat my finger in it and scrape it on the side. I learned this from Back to the Brow. It's a great method, especially if you're using a chunkier shade but you don't want it to get thick on your eyelid. So I'm just doing that and packing it with my finger. And then I'm going to take Imagine, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but like I'm going to pat that right next to it like so. And then I'm going to go back with Oasis and just pat a little bit more of that and blend it over Imagine. Lastly, for the shimmers, I'm going to take Sun Showers, which is this like almost pink to silver iridescent shade. Actually, it has more of like a champagne, pink to champagne maybe. And I'm going to put that right in my inner corner. And obviously I'm going to re-intensify this when I'm done doing my base, but for now, we're just going to put it right here. To do my graphic liner, I used the Glisten Cosmetics split liner in the shade Peppa, and I used both of those shades. So I'm going to try to do this on camera, but if I can't catch it, you'll see the final look in a little fun clip after it. So yeah, I don't think that's even, but that's not my business. I'll come back with the final shots. Hello, welcome to look 2 using the Secret Garden palette. This is actually going to be a quick work look because we need to get it together. So I'm going to use the top row, and that's going to be kind of it for our shades. So allow me to get started. I'm going to take the shade Hidden Deer, which is not the darkest, but the one right before, and I'm going to start putting that in my crease right so. Oh, that's a nice shade, you guys. It's not too warm, but it is warmer, which is kind of my preference because I have a warm undertone. Okay, we're gonna blend out the edges a little bit. Wow, that's already a nice shade with nice depth. I'm gonna take Vintage, which if you remember from the last look is like the pale like bone shade, and I'm just gonna put that right on my brow bone. Then I'm gonna take Wonder, which is the lightest like brown shade. This is what it looks like, and I'm just gonna fluff that all over the edges of my crease shade. I really like that they put a neutral row in this palette. I think it adds versatility for a lot of people, but I do enjoy that the neutrals are kept at like one row and then the rest are colorful, because that definitely appeases my spirit a little bit more. So far this is very good, very, very good. Lastly, I'm gonna take the shade Mahogany, I think, which is the darkest brown in the palette, and I'm just gonna pat that on the outer corner and slowly but surely, you know, start not introducing, because we've already introduced a bunch to the crease, but just start blending it into the crease. This is really great formulas. I love when shadows are really easy to blend, because it doesn't matter how good at blending I am in the morning. When I'm in a rush, I need the shadows to practically like help me blend, you know what I mean? It's beautiful, is it not? We're gonna take Gazebo, which is like a normal champagne neutral but with holographic particles, which is super cool. But before, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of like Fairnay Pixie Epoxy. So that is Gazebo. Okay, you literally cannot see it, but it's okay. Just trust me. It kind of reminds me of Nutmeg by Glaminatrix Cosmetics, but with hollow sparkles in it, so that's a little fun, you know? Okay, perfect. I'll do the rest of my eyeshadow and I'll come back with some close-ups. Welcome to the third and final look using the Bella Beauté Bar Secret Garden Palette. Today's also a work look, so I have to be quick. We're basically gonna use these two shades right here with this, and we're going to use these pinks right here, you know, a few of the other shades, but not really. So let's get into it. First shade I'm going to go in is Rose, which is the lighter, cooler toned matte pink, and I'm going to take that on a fluffy brush and just put that right in my inner corner and start buffing it out like so. Oh, that's a beautiful shade. I really like that. Okay, then I'm gonna take Strawberry, which is that berry which is that berry pink that we have here, that beautiful berry shade. I'm just gonna pop that right beneath the first pink. Then I'm gonna take the shade Enchanted, which is the deepest teal, like so. I love a teal moment. I feel like teal is such a nice eyeshadow color. It's like, you know, between blue and green, and it's so nice. So what I'm gonna do is start, you know, try to pull that outwards and just slowly bringing it back in. I kind of want the shades to connect, but not too much, because girl, I'm not blending pink and teal this morning. That's certainly not what I'm doing. Before we blend further, I'm gonna take the shade Vintage, which is the pale shade, pale bone shade. You guys know I love these kinds of shades, just to kind of set my brow bone and, you know, help the especially blues and greens and even purples, and I mean every shade, just blend without like catching onto that little part, you know, in my brow bone. I'm gonna take the shade Mist, which is like a more minty light matte pale shade. And I'm just gonna buff that right above the Enchanted. Yeah, okay. I love how pulled out this is. I'm going to work. I'm not going anywhere. This is insane. Anyways, this is an interesting shade. It looks like deeper in the pan, I feel. Or maybe not. Or maybe it's just my color perception that's warped. That could be it too. I'm gonna go back in with some of these shades, and then I'll be right back just to get into the shimmer. I put mirrors so close to my face because I for real cannot see anything. So I'm gonna take Imagine, which is insane, and I'm just gonna pat that on like the teal side of, I don't know, the halo eye or whatever. Then I'm gonna take Daydream, which is like a pink with almost like bluish sparkles. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, and I'm just gonna pack that. I
really like when things have like blue reflex in it because it makes them look wet. And for the inner corner, we're gonna use Sun Showers, but I'll use that after. Oh my god, I'm trying not to drop anything. I'll use Sun Showers after I'm done with my face makeup. Okay, thank you. I'll see you for the reveal.
This is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video of me reviewing my Bella Beauté Bar Secret Garden eyeshadow palette. I really enjoy this. I think it's really beautiful. I love the garden theme we've been getting. You know, the pastel garden that they released last year, the Gloomy Gardens by MBA Cosmetics, and now the Secret Gardens. I love green and pink together. I said this on my TikTok, I believe. Green and pink are like definitely an underrated combo because when you think about it, red and green gives Christmas, but pink and green gives spring. And I just love that. And obviously, I'm a fan. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Tell me how you feel about this palette. Do you have it? Are you planning on purchasing it? Is this something that interests you? Are you a creasy person or not? I'd love to know all of these things. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will probably be the review on the Blend Money X Ellis Atlantis eyeshadow palette. So yeah, we'll see you for that.